Hello and welcome to another edition of the BFNL Footy Show. Looking ahead to round 11. My name's Yeendy. I'm here with the great man Gussie K.
How you going?
Yeah, good mate. You ready for another round of it?
I'm excited.
And before we talk footy, we'll do a proper introduction to your good self. What is your role here at AFL Goldfields? Because you've been hovering around for a little while.
I've been hovering around, so I'm probably the intern. So I do everyone else's jobs, but I'm helping run the BFL juniors, doing some work with youth girls, helping Yeendy out, and that's about it, I think.
Excellent, mate. It was enough to keep you busy, mate.
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it?
Excellent, mate. And great work on your recent exams too. It's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
We do highlight that having interns come on board. It's a great opportunity to get some experience. And the last person that was in your role is now at AFL Goldfields.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, you might have to take my spot, mate. So you have been in sublime form as we get ready to pump up round 11. And an interesting thing to point out on the ladder front, mate, is that there is, on the back of last week's results, where it was pretty close originally before round 10's games, now we're seeing a 2-game gap between 5th and 6th. So
that's nothing, is it? Not much.
Not much, but it does make it a bit difficult for teams fighting for spots the top 6, because we can sort of say now that 6th spot is up for grabs. No longer the team in 5th can be pretty safe, because there's 2 games plus a fair chunk of percentage, mate. So unless something drastic happens.
But, yeah.
We'll see.
Alright, so first game we got Redan v Melton. So Melton is 6th moment and 5th Redan.
Yeah.
So thoughts on this one? Who's going to win?
Well, Redan has been in good form. When they come off beating Darley by 40 points on the weekend on their home deck, it's quite
it's
quite
pretty handy,
impressive.
isn't it?
It is. But I think the thing with both sides is that they do have a tough draw sort of going on the home stretch. So Redan do face all the teams above them on the run home, and Melton does as well. So, I mean, when we're talking about 5th position, mate, which is where Redan's sitting at the moment, that's not quite safe. Anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Melton South or a East Point sort of come up. So it's important for the winners here. I think for Redan to win, then they start to see a bit of a 3-game gap open up between 5th and 6th, and basically...
And that'd be pretty handy, wouldn't it? 3 games.
You could basically just stamp Redan's ticket through to the finals. But it is being played at Mackey Park, and Melton have been quite good and impressive for most of their games at home this year. And they've been a pretty good side anyway, mate. They haven't been a team that's been known for being blown off the park. They've probably had 1 or 2 games where they've underperformed without winning and losing by a reasonable margin. So Redan, they're going for I think their 4th win in a row now, so it's a big chance for them.
So who's your tip?
I will
Redan. Same here, I reckon.
And this game will be broadcast live and exclusive by the Stars on 97.9 FM. As we look ahead to the next game, Gussie, what have we got?
Sebas and Backers. So this is 11th v 2nd. So you would think 2nd would win, Backers should win, but things do happen. You never know who's going to win. Sebas could come through, first win of the year maybe.
Yeah, look, and especially being at home too. And I had a chat to one of the senior umpires who officiated in the Sebas North Ballarat City game. He did say it was a pretty close game, and Sebas were quite competitive, and they've been quite competitive in a lot of their games this year. And that's the beauty about this comp this year, mate. We haven't seen too many blowouts. If we have, if anything, it's probably been at the top end of the ladder.
Exactly.
So
it's probably last week Sebas's third quarter cost him. So if they could put together a full game this week, maybe they could sneak a chance against the reigning premiers.
Exactly, especially on their home turf. So we have seen a few interesting results in the past few weeks. And look, you'd expect Bacchus Marsh to win. They finished the game strongly against Ballarat, but as you say, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but I'm going with Bacchus.
Yeah, we'll go back as Marsh as well. And what have we got for the next game?
So the next game is Darley v City, and this is McCafe match of the round.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracking contest, and a fitting, fitting contest for one of the matches of the round to observe this weekend. City, their last month has been pretty impressive. They've just got 1 win from 4 outings. They had a few narrow losses. They did, as you mentioned earlier, it was the 3rd quarter that cost Sebas, and that's where City sort of stepped up last week. But you look at Darley. They would be smarting from that 40-point loss on the weekend.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? That 3rd quarter cost them.
Yeah, well,
scoreless hurt them a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can't recall. There's probably may have happened, but I can't recall a game in recent times where Darley has been kept scoreless for a quarter. So no doubt that would hurt. That would sting a fair bit. And they did have Ed Scotland who returned from injury. He played quite well, but
it's a pretty handy player.
He is in a handy leader, but look, North Ballarat City, despite the fact they're sitting second from the bottom, they're not going to be without a chance here. I think they're going to be there's going to be a good opportunity for them to maybe cause a bit of an upset, and they have been playing some good footy. They just need to get some good players on the track, and you never know, mate.
So you think Darley for the win?
Darley for the win, but I don't think it'll be an easy contest.
Easy. All right. So our next game, you got Sunbury v Melton South.
Well, every game from Melton South over the past few weeks and into the next few weeks is a bit of an elimination final. They dropped this
critical,
one,
isn't it?
Exactly. And what would happen to South if they lose?
They go down to 8th.
Now, and that's because
And that's going to hurt him, isn't it?
That would definitely hurt. And East Point do have the bye. They're on 16 points. Melton South are on 20 points, but East Point have a superior percentage. So, and with the bye, you get your 4 points,
yeah, exactly.
naturally. So that would move East Point up a ladder rung. So it's a danger game, and Sunbury have been in some great form. I think they've won four or five games in a row. They're looking pretty good. This game is at home. The Fev show will no doubt be turned on, but they need more than that. So,
I don't know. Fev could kick 10.
He certainly could. Well, the last time these two teams met, we did see Melton South get the job done in the second week of, I think it was on Good Friday, actually. It was a cracking contest, that one. Should be a good one. Which way do you think this goes?
I'm backing Melton South and Fev to kick a bag, I reckon. Get over the line.
Ooh,
Keep their final chances alive.
I like the optimism there. Gussie, I'm going to jump on Sunbury's bandwagon. Winning
Safe.
form is good form.
That's true.
You wouldn't put your house on it, given that South did push Lake Windaree probably for about 85 to 90% of the match last week, so they were quite good. They're probably just, I think the key thing with South is they maybe missing about 3 or 4 players with a little bit more experience. They've got a lot of young kids in their team. I think they had about 3 under-18s players play last week. They get a little bit more experience, or they're substituted for those who have played a little bit more senior footy. That can make a big difference, but it was their kids that did stand out a fair bit last week. So that's probably where they're at. The Sunbury have started, they're a good local team, but they've got a good list, well-balanced list from back line to the forward line and the midfield. So I think that'll be enough.
Win for you.
Yep, Sunbury to win for me as we go to the final game.
Final game, you got Ballarat v Lakers, or probably Lakers for me, being first in the ladder, Ballarat being 9th. You'll probably give it to Lake Windaree for this one.
I think it would, mate. The Ballarat have been quite impressive in the past few weeks. They've challenged some of the better sides, but it's about sustaining it for a long period of time. And unfortunately for Ballarat, they could have upstaged a couple of the teams. They could have taken down Darling, Bacchus Marsh, but not to be. Lake Windaree played some good footy last week, and they've got a couple of senior boys who are stepping up as coaches this week. So their head coach will be away for the week. So Lucas Anderson, I can't remember the name of the other star, but they will be stepping up and taking over the duties as playing coaches. So it'll be a good experiment for the boys. But I think Lakers
to win for me as well.
Yep, should be fantastic. But Gussie, thanks so much for joining us
No
this
worries.
week on the BFNL Footy Show, and who knows, we might be able to get you on board again.
Hopefully.